for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach Kumalak Yabushai, double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach Kumalak Yabushai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying. They're fasting. They're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive and diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. And shalom to everybody tuning in live. Salome Williams, Quadash, Zion, Shalom King, Brother Believe, HBK Int, Nigel Blends, Eric, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. The topic of this code cut is the 7 churches warning. I want to go through each church on a day-by-day or week-by-week basis and go through these churches. And when Yahweh Bashmi Abushai gave these revelations to John, the Revelator, or St. John the Divine, or John the Apostle, right? When the Most High gave him these revelations, when you read the 2nd chapter, the 3rd chapter, these are strong admonishments to each one of these churches. There are 7 churches, and we went into the 7 churches, but we'll go into it again, right? Because the Spirit is on us to go into it again, right? So these 7 churches were some of the last remaining bodies of Israel in Asia Minor during the height of persecution, right? So we're going to go through these churches during the Flavian dynasty and see that Yahweh Bashmi Abashai has warned each one of these churches and gave them the good and the bad and weighed it in the balance. And there are some certain things that churches they worked on, and there are certain things that they needed to work on, right? Like us all, there are things that we do well that are being viewed by Yahweh Shai, and there are things that we aren't doing well that are also viewed by Yahweh Shai, and the Most High gives us that correction. That's why it says in Job, despise not, it's lucky, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, right? Let me get this real quick, right? Salakia. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 17. Behold, happy is the man whom the Most High corrected. Therefore, despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty, for he maketh sore and bindeth up. He woundeth and his hands make whole. So if you're being corrected by the Most High, you should be happy, man. Because if the Most High don't correct you, who else is going to correct you, man? You're going to be left to your own devices. The Most High said in Proverbs 19 and 21, there are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord that shall stand. So man has many devices and things that you may think is profitable for you, or you may be walking after your own lust or the ways of your own heart. The Lord even said in Proverbs chapter 14 and 12 that there's a way that seemeth right unto a man. Because man will convince himself that every move that he makes is profitable, regardless of what he may hear from other people or despite the counsel that he has gotten or not gotten, man. He's going to think that every move he makes is in his best interest, you know, but he's going to find himself falling down a path of destruction. So the Most High has to correct you. And you have to realize when the Most High is correcting you. Because again, the Most High, like it says, happy is the man whom the Most High corrected. The Lord is not going to get off his throne and talk to you, man. You know, who are you? You got all these Christians, God talk to me. That's what they say. Oh, God talk to God, right? First of all, half of them don't know the Most High. Second of all, they got pork in their breath. And third of all, they profaning the every statute and commandment. Man thinks that you're so close to the Most High, man. You know? So the Most High, he's not going to come down and talk to you one-on-one. He's going to correct you via who? The prophets. And the Most High may deal with you on a level where he give you dreams. The Most High may really deal with you and give you an angel, man. Right? The Most High can correct you through man. So you have to take this correction, and you should be happy when the Most High corrects us. Now you can say, well, hold on. You're going into the 7 churches. That was then. No, that applies to us now. Right? Did not the Most High say in Romans chapter 15? Well, let's get this in Romans chapter 15. Now, what did the Lord say? Just because it was written to the church of Ephesus doesn't mean it's not applicable to you. Right? Romans chapter 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. You see that? So you have to understand that everything was written, it was essentially written as a learning lesson. Right? It was written that you could learn how to serve the Most High and how to perform what is acceptable in righteousness. It's not, oh, that's too old, or that was to that church. Oh, the Lord, he was only talking to the church of Corinth. Oh, he was only dealing with, Israel in the wilderness. It doesn't apply to us now. No, that's madness. It's madness, man. All right, he was just talking to them back then. Everything that's written, it applies to you. That's why it's written. All right. So let's get right into it. We're going to go straight to the church of Ephesus. Right? Let's go right into the church of Ephesus and a warning. And you have to look at this and say, this is the Most High talking to me. Not because I'm reading it, because it's written. Right? When you read Revelation, the 2nd chapter, the 3rd chapter, that's the Lord talking to you. He's writing to the 7 churches. Now, the 7 churches, this is Revelation chapter 1 and 20. Let's see what the 7 churches are. Revelation 1 and 20. The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. Now, the 7 churches represent Israel as a whole. They were literal churches, literal geographical locations that you can travel to, even to this very day. The remains and their tourist attractions and archaeological sites, and there are relics and things of that nature. But through the Spirit, this applies to all of Israel. We are these 7 churches on a deeper level, right? We are the 7 golden candlesticks. Now, when you go to Revelation, the 2nd chapter, here's the church of Ephesus. Unto the angel of the church of Salaki, let me hold this like this. Bear with me. Salaki. Unto the angel of the church of Ephesus, write, these things saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. Now, the 7 stars are the 7 angels. And the Lord has them in his right hand because Yahweh Shai has complete dominion over every spirit. The 7 spirits of the Most High are the angels on the right hand side and on the left hand side, and they're under his control. Like I tell you in Ecclesiastes 18 that he governeth the world with the palm of his hand. So these things are being orchestrated by Yahweh Shai. And then he walks in the midst of the 7 churches because he's in the midst of Israel. He said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst thereof. All right, let's read on. I know thy works and thy labor and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and hast found them liars. So the Lord knows their works. The Lord knows our works. Why? Because our works are being documented and recorded. Sound, right? That you speak, or what you see, what you lust after, what you look at, what you taste, what you hear, how you treat one another, how you deal with your household. These things are being documented and recorded. Right? Let's get a quick precept on that. Let's go to the book of Job. Right? Let's get a quick precept. The Lord knows your works, man. You can't hide from the Lord. He knows how you feeling. The Lord don't have to ask how you doing. That's something that man does. How you doing, Ak? How you feeling in the spirit? Oh, I'm all right. I'm holding up. Right? The Lord don't have to do that, man. Right? This is Job. It's like I want chapter 31 and verse. It's like you bear with me. I'm going to start at, now Job 31 goes into integrity. Job 31 and verse 2. For what portion of the Most High is there from above? And what inheritance of the Almighty from on high? It's not destruction to the wicked, and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. Doth not he count, it's like it doth not he see my ways, and count all my steps? If I have walked with vanity, or if my foot have hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in an even balance, that the Most High may know my integrity. You see that? So Job knew that, man. He knew he couldn't hide from the Lord. That's what the Lord told that church. I know thy works. Those are evil works, and those are righteous works. And all your steps, the Lord don't need a pedometer. Yahweh Bashmi Abashah is not coming down giving every soul a pedometer. Okay, this brother, he took 10,000 steps. Okay, this sister, she took 5,000. Okay, and no, man. When you walk into that club and freak off, the Lord is counting that. When you walk into that brother's wife house and you know she married, he's counting that. And when you walk into your room, man, you open up that Bible, the Lord is counting that. And when you walk into that, your room and you drink some water because you about to fast, and the Lord is counting that. He knows the works. That's what he's telling the church. He's counting all of their steps. Right, let's go back to this. So he said, I know thy works. Right, let's finish this. It reads, Revelation 2 and 2. I know thy works and thy labor. And the Lord knows how much work you putting in. And guess what else the Most High know? How much work you're not putting in. And thy patience. And thou canst not bear them which are evil. So the Lord know how you feel about sin. Do you entertain evil? Do you really secretly get off on lust? Do you indulge in what they call guilty pleasures, man? Freakism and madness. See, the Most High knows how much you love him. How hard you're willing to go. How far you're willing to go. He knew this church and said, hey, look, I know you, man. You hate them that are evil. Can you bear them which are evil? Or do you hang around those that are evil? Do you entertain their demons? Entertain their gossip, backbiting, whispering, murmuring, folly, vanity, madness? Or you like the church of Ephesus, and you canst not bear them which are evil. What else did the Lord say? And thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and hast found them liars. Right, similar to the church of Corinth. You had false apostles. Paul said through the Spirit, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. So they had to put men on trial, because you had men going into the church of Ephesus, feigning themselves to be men of the Lord, but through examination, the church of Ephesus was so well studied that they said, no, these guys ain't apostles. They don't know this, they don't know that. And they had discernment, so they could recognize the spirit that was on them. So that was a good thing. So the Lord sees the good things that you do, and he acknowledges those things, man. In Hebrews chapter 6 and 9 on down, the Lord said, he is not unrighteous to forget your labor and work of love that you have showed toward his name. So it's not as if the Lord just recording all of your wickedness. No, all of the righteousness that you do, man. All of the alms, all of your charity, all of your time reading, your spirit, your fasting, your praying, your checking on brothers, your exhortation, your sacrifice, your willingness to do what's right despite the masses. The Lord sees all of that, man. So it's not, okay, the Lord is just looking out for evil. He's not just watching over you to destroy you, man. He's also watching over you to reward you, to render unto every man according as his work shall be. And if you didn't know that the Lord is watching the good and the evil, here's a key example of the church of Ephesus. He recorded the good that they're doing. Right? Let's read on. And has borne and has patience, and for my name's sake has labored and has not fainted. See that? When the Lord visited them, they didn't faint. When it says they have borne, meaning they carried the burdens. They had to check on the other churches. They had to check on one another. They had to endure the persecution. They have borne. They have labored. They have taught the gospel. They have loved the nation. They have been charitable. They have added souls to the church. They have borne. And it reads, and has patience. So the Lord acknowledged that twice with this church. And you have to stack yourself up. That's the purpose of this cold cut. Stack yourself up, man. Like they do in boxing or they do in sports. When they do that in boxing, they measure. They got the champion and they got the number one contender. Right? The champion, they'll measure his height, his reach, his record, his weight. They'll measure these things. How many knockouts he has. And then they'll stack the other guy up next to him. How many knockouts does this guy have? How tall is this guy? What is his reach? How do they look when they stack up toe to toe, man? Because that pretty much gives you an idea on how that may go. If this guy's 50-0 with 50 knockouts and they stack him up and they show the guy who, he's 0-3, and this is his fourth fight. And he's been knocked out all three. You kind of get an idea how that fight is going to go. You're supposed to stack yourself up and measure yourself to Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. Measure yourself to these churches, man. Look at the church of Ephesus. They have patience. Stack yourself up. Hey, do I have patience? Or am I getting weary? Am I letting the world consume me? Am I giving heed to doctrines? Right? Am I quick to cut a brother off in the midst of his speech? Am I just getting seduced by the world? Am I losing patience? Now I'm spending more time at my job. I'm looking for 1,000 wives now. You're just coveting money. You're looking to make it here because you're losing patience. Stack yourself up, man. What they say, bar for bar in the world, man. Toe for toe. Right? Let me get this quick precept in Ephesians. Right? This is Ephesians, right? Chapter 4 and verse 11. Right? Ephesians chapter 4 and 11. And he gave some apostles and some, right? And some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach. And that's why men are out there, right? That teach on the highways and byways, or that are out there to feed the flock. Some of these men are apostles, prophets, pastors, and teachers. The Lord sent them out there to perfect the elect, right? To show them their shortcomings and what they can do to get better. Not forever, but till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach. Right? That we henceforth be no more children. So you have to grow in the measure of stature. You can't be a child in this truth, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Right? So stack yourself up. Are you still in that childlike mode, being tossed to and fro, and every doctrine sounds good to you and you're not rooted? Or are you getting built up to be on a level and you're reaching a measure and stature of the fullness of Hamashiach? Right? So where do you measure at? When you analyze and look at the life of the Lord, when you look at the Lord's labor, the Lord's patience, the Lord's sacrifice, the Lord being sinless, without spot, blameless, perfect, righteous, a lover of his brethren, a lover of his nation. Where do you stack up? Because right now we should be reaching towards the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach. So your job is to ask yourself on a day-to-day basis, how close am I to Yahweh Shai at his fullness? Right? That's a standard. That's what you stack yourself up with in stature. You know how children, they'll line themselves up, they'll put themselves up on a wall, and they'll take that pencil and they'll see how tall they are, every year or every 6 months, right? A child, he's 4 feet tall, and they'll mark it and they'll put the date and they'll put his initials, Johnny Smith. Then Johnny Smith, he's 5 years old, and his mother, she'll hold his head up and put the pencil up there, and he's getting taller, he's growing, and he's measuring his date as he grows. Right? You got to do the same thing in the spirit, man. Where were you last year? The year before? Have you increased? Are you getting closer to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ? As much as a child is getting, he's measuring himself to be the height of the adult. You know, if his father or his mother. That's his measurement. That's his expectation. That is his limit. Your limit is to reach the fullness of the stature for Mashiach. That's why we have to look at these churches and ask ourselves, are we reaching this level? Right? Do we have something that we want to obtain into? This church, let's read this again. Right? Revelation chapter 2 and 3. It reads, and has borne and has patience, and for my name's sake has labored and has not fainted. Have you fainted? Are you about to faint? Are you ready to give up? Are you ready to let your job consume you? Some wicked woman consume you. The flesh, your sin. Some demon that you just keep entertaining. Are you ready to faint? Read on. So the Lord told them the great things they did, but guess what? Verse 4, nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. And the Lord has somewhat against every one of us. Now you can say, no, the Lord don't have nothing against me. Or you can say that if you want to. Let that be your mentality, man. If that's the road that you want to take, if that's the route you want to go and the door you want to walk in, hey, so be it, man. But every one of us, if you're sincere, you know that the Lord has somewhat against you. Now you have to ask yourself, what does the Lord have against you? Now you can say, well, I don't know. I'm clean. I'm spotless. I'm blameless. I am Yahweh Shai. No, man. Maybe it's you not studying like you should be. Maybe you're not fasting like you should be. Maybe you need to ask and inquire. Ask Yahweh, Bashmi Yahweh Shai. Pray. Go on the fast. Ask the Most High what he has against you, man. You know? Maybe the Most High been trying to tell you through men or through whatever. And you just refuse to listen. But the Lord has somewhat against every one of us. Right? And that's what self-examination is for. That's what self-examination is for, to look internally and see where you're lacking. All right? Now, the Lord against the church of Ephesus, he told him what he had against them. It wasn't a big secret. It wasn't a big mystery. It says, because thou hast left thy first love. Now, what if this is you? Have you left your first love? And I love going into this topic, man. It's such a beautiful spirit that Yahweh Bashmi Shai put in here, man. About losing your first love or leaving your first love. You know what your first love is, man. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 5. Right? Let's go to Proverbs, the 5th chapter. Your first love, if you didn't know, your first love is this truth. Right, Salakia, I know the camera is all jammed up, right? This is Proverbs chapter 5, and I want verse 18. Right, it reads, let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. So your first love, this is really talking about wisdom. Right? Yeah, it's talking about your actual woman. You want to be dealing with your woman. Don't deal with a heathen. Right? But nevertheless, on a deeper level, the Lord said, rejoice with the wife of your youth. Because when you're born again, you are espoused to a wife in your youth. Remember, right? The scripture says in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and 1, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth. Right? So in the days of your youth are the days when you come into this truth, when you're born again. And you are given a wife. Every wise father will give his son a wife. Betroth a wife unto his son. That's the ancient way. You were given wisdom. That's your first love. Now you can say, nah, it was Bianca. It was Rochelle. It was Keisha. It was Tammy, right? It was Sherelle. No, man. Your first love is wisdom. It's not talking about, some woman you dealt with in college, man, or high school. You're supposed to rejoice with wisdom, enjoy the scriptures, love studying, love praying, love watching the breakdowns. You should love taking notes. You should love reading your chapters for the day, meditating, right? You got to rekindle that love. The Lord said you left your first love, man. Everybody gets past that cupcake stage, honeymoon stage. You see marriages like that. You got your honeymoon stage. You texting, you doing emojis, right? You're holding your woman's hand, right? You taking that walk when you put your arms around her shoulders. You walking behind her and you walking, right? Jake, you know what I'm talking about? That late night walk, man. You're taking her out to eat, right? You're doing date night. You're on the phone. What's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? How many kids do you want? Oh, I want 2, or I was thinking 3. Yeah, because if we get 3 boys, that means we're gonna have, I'm gonna have one play basketball, one play football, and one play baseball. Oh, you crazy, right, Jake? You know what I'm talking about, right, Jake? You know what I'm talking about, man. Hey, at one time, you was in love with this truth. All you thought about was this truth. And every brother went through that, man. That time when you was watching all of the videos, you locked yourself damn near in the room, right? You was ordering your fringes, getting your apocrypha, getting your regular KJV, and you was into it, man. You was watching that camp, and you was watching that camp, and now you're not like that anymore. Now you're just falling out of love. You're falling out of love. And now you, like the Lord said in Proverbs 5:20. Well, actually, I'm going to read 19 again. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Right? I mean, he's supposed to be chasing this thing. All right? Let her breast satisfy thee at all times. And be thou ravished always with her love. So you're supposed to be into this thing, man. When you're ravished with somebody's love, you can't stop thinking about them. And I'm going to just put it out there, man. You're always intimate with that person. Right? Certain marriages get to the point where they don't touch me. Don't touch me. Oh, gross. You don't want to get like that with wisdom. Like an old couple that's been together 40 years, man. Where they can't stand each other. Where there's 2 twin beds in the master bedroom. Don't touch me. And they argue over every little thing. No, you want to be ravished with wisdom. The church of Ephesus, they lost that love. They fell out of love, man. And what did the Lord admonish? Proverbs 5:20. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a stranger? Yeah, why would you want to deal with another doctrine, another woman, another philosophy outside of wisdom? Let's go to back to Revelation, right? So you can't leave your first love, man. And you know if you left your first love or not. You know who you are, right? We don't have to call out names, right? Revelation chapter 2 and verse 4. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will remove thy candlestick out of his place, except thou repent. How many times do you have to hear this before you get right, man? We know this scripture. How many times hearing it is it going to take for you to finally remember your first love? Because today might be the last time. If you don't remember your first love, the Lord will come into you and just take this truth away from you. Plain and simple. Next thing you back in the world. Verse 6. But this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. So you got to hate certain wicked deeds, man. You got to hate wickedness. Right? He that hath an ear, Salakia, He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of the Most High. And that's what it's all about, man. It's all about eating of the tree of life that you was banned from, where the Lord set up cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Our mission and goal is to get back to the tree of life by following Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, by not fainting, by being patient, by borning or carrying the burdens of this truth. You know, by hating wicked deeds like the deed to the Nicolaitans, which time would fail us to get unto. You gotta hate wicked deeds. You can't neglect your first love. This was written to the church of Ephesus, man. It applies to us to this very day. So with that, I'm going to close up. Give it, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Malak Yahushai. We're going to go through these 7 churches in time to come. A strong warning in the last days. Ba'ashima Mashiach Malak Yahushai. Kwam Yasha. Shalom.